Hello everyone, it's Diane. I am working on putting the covers together for the glue books that I started, and I thought I would let you watch because I'm using something different than I normally do on the spines. And I thought I would fill you in on what's going on with my home and all of that. So first of all, I will tell you I'm working on 5 of these glue books. And I went ahead and put on the spine with the Tyvek. I opened a brand new one of these. They are, trying to see, 5 yards. And I made 4 covers with one, but some of them are quite tall, so it takes up more space, more tape. But I was able to make 4 of the covers with one roll of tape, and I opened another one for the last one, just so you know. And they're about $3 for one roll. So what I've done is I assembled the covers, and then I selected what I want to put on for the spine. So that's what we're going to do right now. Just stack everything up here and move it out of the way. We'll start with this one that's right on top. So I have these pieces of vintage patchwork. They're not quilted per se. They don't have the batting in between. I am going to leave this layer on them to give it a little more depth, and they are stuck together with that. I could cut that out easily, but you know, I don't want it to separate once it's on the spine, but the stitching will, the signatures will be sewn through, so I don't think that'll be a problem. But the fabric can be thin, and then you would see the color of the chipboard through it. So I'm going to leave it together like that. So I just kind of tried to pick, and it's a little crooked, you know, they were just really quick thrown together lap robes, I think, or the pieces. This is all pieces of one lap robe. I used several pieces of that, but I also used some other patchwork for the others. Now this will not wrap all the way around. Might not even be, yeah, it's big enough. So I'm just going to put some muslin down the center. So let's just get to it. So I have my Fabri-Tac, my 3-in-1 over here. Oh, I didn't say, this was cut. This was only this one section right here. So, but it was wide. So I cut it to the width that I needed, and then I took the piece that I cut off and sewed it to the bottom of it to make it the right size that I needed. And I better hope that my hole for sewing the signatures in isn't going to be right there on that seam. I would have to adjust because I don't want to have to sew through that with my thick thread, my waxed thread. Flip it over. Make sure I get that Tyvek covered. Make sure it looks good over here. Now I'm just going to sew that. There won't be any sewing over here to hold this down. I did get a new bottle of 3-in-1 ready because I knew this was just about done. Okay. Now I'll get a piece of muslin and put it here. Somebody wrote on this, but I'm going to cover that with paper. So this is just a piece of muslin that I probably got at Walmart. It's supposed to be a remnant, but it's a pretty big piece. I'm gonna get rid of this really frayed edge. Sometimes we like frayed stuff, but I don't want it on this. Oh, that was doubled. I was tearing two. Boy, am I strong. I was tearing 2 layers of fabric at once. I can probably use this one strip for 2 books. I tore it a little wide, but that's okay because I'm going to cover it with fabric or paper anyway, so the edge won't be seen. Alright, so while I'm doing this, let me tell you, the last report I gave was that I had listed my house, and the very day, it was listed Sunday afternoon, and the very day after it was listed, Monday, I was told that someone was going to be going through it on Wednesday. So I was supposed to be watching my grandson that day, the one who does his schooling on the computer, and I usually bring him here to do that, but I couldn't be here while... Alright, this one's done. So anyway, I just stayed at his house all day, which I really needed to it gave me the opportunity to... What's the matter? Why won't it come out? Huh. I've never seen that before. I took the foil seal off it, but it looks like there's a plastic seal that it didn't come off with it. Never had to do this. So anyway, after I exhausted myself trying to get ready, you know, to have the realtor take pictures the one day and then to have somebody go through it, and I was completely exhausted. So I was able to, I wasn't at my own house, so I just took some books and my tablet with me, and I mostly watched YouTube videos. I had to work a few hours. You know, my grandson is 13, so he can be alone. So I left him at his house while I went to work for a few hours, and then I came home and gave him some lunch, and then I just had a few hours left before his mother came home. So I just chilled on the couch and had my books with me and watched YouTube. And anyway, I know I'm making this story very long, aren't I? But I just really needed that day to relax. So then my realtor, and I did tell you this in the previous video, that my realtor messaged me and said that the showing went really well and I should probably have an offer the next day. Well, it wasn't the next day. It was later that day. She messaged me, or she called me, so she could tell me over the phone that the lady offered my full asking price. I was flabbergasted and delighted that she offered me the full price that I asked for. And I knew that God was just taking care of me, because I haven't lived here very long. I've only been here for a little over 4 years, so I don't have much equity in it. So I'm going to have to pay the mortgage off with the money that, you know, she buys it with. So there you go. You know, plus pay the realtor's commission and all that stuff. So what do you think of that patchwork with all of these colors. I think it's okay. And it's a glue book, so I thought this would be really fun for a glue book spine. I don't use a lot of pretty papers on the insides, as I've said before, because you're just going to glue stuff over them. So I thought it would be nice to do something special on the outside. And I'll probably do something here and here, because somebody wrote, and I can't erase it. I can't wash it off. Somebody wrote Hillary and then scribbled it out. I'm assuming Hillary wrote Hillary. So, the closing is supposed to be February 28th. And that gives me about 6 weeks. But I'm going away for 1 week in February, and I'm so... it was a conference that my son and I signed up for on counseling. Not that we want to be counselors, but it will help us in dealing with the positions that we have in church and things like that. And my pastor and his wife are going. So we had signed up months ago, and it's the second week in February. And I really need to be here getting ready to move. But, you know, God knew. God knew all of this was going to happen, so I just have to keep trusting. Also, that the place I'm going to move into isn't ready yet, and I contacted the lady I'm dealing with on that end and told her that my house sold already and that my closing would be on the last day of February, and I just wanted to make sure things were moving ahead there, and they are, and she said it should be ready by your closing date. Well, it needs to be ready before that, because when I close, I hand over the keys, and I need to have all my stuff out. So again, I have to trust God, right? Just have to trust God. So I'm not going to fret about all of it. I'm just going to know that it's all going to be okay. I'm looking for rickrack to put here. But I was just so excited that she offered my full asking price, and the realtor was so happy to be able to call me. She said this is probably one of the happiest sales she's ever made, and it happened so fast. So Tuesday, somebody's going to be coming to inspect the house. So once again, I have to make sure everything is ready for that, and I have to be gone. But I had told my daughter that I would help her organize in her... It's supposed to be a craft room, but it has just turned into a big storage room. It's a mess. So I had told her that I would help her next week on her days off, and it happens to be, one of her days off happens to be the day the inspector's coming, so I can spend that day helping her. I'm going to go with this pink. I kind of wanted... There's pink here, and there's pink here. This is kind of pinkish, and I think this pink goes okay with it. So I'm just going to be a busy, busy girl. So yesterday I had my grandsons again. Got the younger one off on the bus and brought the other older one here. So I could do stuff, but you know what? I didn't do stuff. Very little. Because I was still so exhausted. Plus I have to get up so early on the days that I have to take care of them. I have to get up at 5:15 so that I can be at their house before they have to go to work. And the boys are still sleeping when I get there. And so I just have to wake them up and get them ready for school. Fortunately, they're old enough to get themselves ready. I just have to be the one to make sure they're up and around and give them something to eat. Take Teddy to the bus stop. All that stuff. So when I have to do that 2 days in a row, it's really hard on me. And on top of all the other stuff I've been doing, I spent yesterday so tired I couldn't even do anything. Sometimes I get so tired that it makes me feel sick. And that's how I was yesterday. So, spent a lot of time on the couch again. And I don't like doing that, but I guess I just needed it. I'll just try putting it down here. I think I'm taking a long time doing this because I'm talking too much. But you all have been very supportive and sent me your best wishes and your prayers on the sale of the house. And so I just wanted to catch up on what's happening there. And I have so much stuff I need to dispose of before I move because I have a 2-story house with an attic, a cellar, a garage, and a shed. And I'm moving into a very small place with no attic, no cellar, no garage, and an 8x8 shed, which I'll have to put a lawnmower and Christmas decorations in. So I really have a lot to do before the end of February. And then once I get in, then it'll take me some time to get everything organized and put away and all that stuff. But I'm pretty fast about doing that because I don't like things to be unorganized, so I get right on top of that. So hopefully by mid-March, I'll be all settled in. And I'm really hoping that somebody is going to be able to know how important it is for me to have my craft room set up and to have my shelves on the walls so I can organize everything. It'll probably be my son-in-law that does it. He hung up the extra shelves that I bought for in here after my husband passed away. My husband did the first sets of shelves. So anyway, I'm hoping that, I don't like to nag people, but I'm hoping that they realize that it's very important to me and it's part of my livelihood and that my craft room will get set up promptly. Sorry for bumping the camera, but it's what I do. When I signed up for the conference, they told us that they do it the same time every year, the same time of year, and it's always around Valentine's. It's the week of Valentine's, and she said, I don't know why they do it that way, but I remember thinking, well, it might be good for me to have something to occupy me during Valentine's Day. Just gonna trim a little more off of that. I don't like Valentine's Day anymore. I'm a romantic at heart, and I love romance, so I loved Valentine's Day. But now it's just very difficult. So I thought it would be good for me to not be home and have something else to do on Valentine's Day. And just yesterday I realized that I am asking for the week of Valentine's Day off when I work for Hallmark, and Valentine's is one of the biggest card days of the year. I felt terrible when I realized that, but my boss, she was okay with it. She's like, do you really have to go the week of Valentine's? Just asking. And I said, I'm sorry, that's when they have the conference, and I didn't even realize that's when it was. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't think about the cards, I just thought, oh good, I won't be home. Oh, darn. So, I'm glad she was understanding. I already put glue on there, and I don't want it to dry, so I'm just gonna put a little more glue on this and then change my tape. I usually put the glue on last. I put the glue on so that it'll stick good to the fabric. I think that the ATG tape would stick pretty well to it, but I don't know. I just like to be extra sure. I didn't have that straight. It's kind of a little thicker than normal up here because of that patchwork. So it's got some seams and double layer of fabric folded over there. I'm just going to use this. Put a little of the 3-in-1 on the edge that will be, I guess that would be this one. The edge that'll be on the fabric. So as I said in the previous video, when I started pulling pages and things for these books, I chose to do glue books at this time just because I can't even think straight. It was giving me a headache trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I said, let's just do something that I don't have to think about. So there we have a cover. I think it's cute. I like it. Let's see what else I have. The next one will be this really fun one. It's a smaller book. And I have this fabric that I thought would be really pretty. I don't think this is a handmade patchwork. I think this might have been a store-bought, like a pillow sham or something. Don't even know where I got it. Somebody might have sent it to me. But I thought these colors were perfect for this. So I need it to be about 4 1/4 inches. I want to use this part with more of the green. Going to trim off the raggedy edge. I love the colors. It's 3 o'clock. Not bad. So 4 1/2. I think I said 4 1/4, but I want it to be 4 1/2 because I cut the Tyvek at 4 1/4. And I want this to be a little bigger than the Tyvek. But I doubt that this is going to be long enough to wrap all the way around, so I'll have to put muslin on the inside part again. Oh, it does almost. I have to cut that off because that is just too bulky. And that will ruin it as far as the reach. Look at how close that is. We're going to go with it. We're just going to go with it. I want this to be the front. It could be that one or this one, and I like this picture better. It's got a fairy queen and the little fairies bowing down to her. This is one of those topsy-turvy books. So if you get this book, just understand that I didn't make a mistake and put the back cover on upside down. This is the way the book was, and I wanted to keep it that way. Maybe if I open up that seam, it will help just enough. Got threads. Well, yesterday or last week was like spring here. The Sunday was like a spring day. And today it was 15 degrees. Yep, it works. That saves a little effort, covering it with muslin. Cool. Obviously, I'll have to cover these pages too, the end papers, I mean. Make sure I have it the right way. And then select some papers to use. Just wondering if that black will show through this. I kind of like this neutral paper, but it's got big flowers all over it. Five and 3/4. Yep, 5 3/4 by almost 9, 8 7/8, I think. It's got this label on it. Can't get it off. Why would they do that? And I always have it on that side, but at least when I flip it over, I can see it. And I just remember or forgot what I wrote. 5. Oh my gosh, I didn't write anything. Forgot what I said. 5 3/4 by almost 9. Okay. I think it's time to change my blade. I could use the 3-in-1 for all of it, but this is a little bit cheaper. None of the adhesives are very cheap, but you know, you gotta have good adhesives in these projects. Or what's the point in doing them if they're just gonna fall apart? It's such pretty fabric there. So let's see, what color would complement both sides? I think maybe this dusty pink would. Gonna go see a movie tonight with a friend of mine I haven't seen in quite a while. She lives, I can walk to her house in just a few minutes. But she got a new job not too long ago, and I haven't seen her since she started her job. You know, we talk a little bit on Facebook and stuff, but we're going to get together tonight and have a slice of pizza and then go see a movie. We're going to go see a movie called Knives Out, and I cannot remember what it's all about, but I remember seeing previews and the people in it. I think it's a comedy, even though it's called Knives Out. But I like some of the people that are in it, and I can't even remember who they are, but I just remember seeing it and thinking I want to see that movie. Little Women was playing up until last night, and I wanted to see that, but she wasn't available till tonight, so our options were Knives Out or Doolittle, and I would have taken either one of those. It plays 3 movies, and the other one is 1917, which I'm not all that keen on. I don't really like war movies. So I would have been happy with either Doolittle or Knives Out, and she chose Knives Out. Okay, I got so much glue on me. If I decide to put a trim here, I will do it, but I'm not going to do it right now. There's nothing jagged to cover up there like the raw edges of this fabric. Since I put paper over it, that covers up the raw edges. So I may not put any trim on the inside. So there's another cover. This one is going to have really fun patchwork on it. I love this patchwork. This was like a windmill print, and so I centered it and then trimmed off both of the edges, and I took one of the strips that I cut off and sewed it to the top and the bottom. So now I have a piece that's the right size. It's going on this book. I almost decided not to make this into a glue book because of its size. Because it's big and the corners are so bad. But I decided to, and then I was glad I did because somebody commented to me or messaged me on Etsy or something and said she really hopes to be able to get this one. I had said I'm not going to reserve any of the glue books. I just don't want to have to deal with, contacting people and waiting for them to get back to me and all that stuff. I just want to put them in the shop and have them sell. But she was hoping to get this one, so, well, it's a good thing I decided to go ahead with it then. So I hope she gets it. Let's see if I have it even. I think so. I just love these vintage colors with the vintage colors on this book. Just really like those colors. So we're going to put muslin on this. So I've been working so hard to get ready. I had started packing things that I don't need all the time, decorative things and some books off my bookshelves. And I've actually been going through photo albums, and I spent so much time organizing photos years ago and getting them in albums. And I get the kind of albums that has space to write next to them. You put the photo in and then there's lines next to it you can write on. So that was my solution to scrapbooking, because scrapbooking took too much time and I just couldn't keep up with it. But I was able to write the dates and a little information about what was happening there in the picture. That's not going to look very good, but it was too long. It's hard to cut it while it's glued down. So I've been working on taking pictures out of those albums because I had a full bookshelf full of photo albums and then some. And I take so many pictures, and with a digital camera, you just take pictures, and I printed a lot of them. So I've been working on that. And so since I got word that the house, that there's an offer on the house and it's probably sold. I mean, it's not official till you do the closing, but my house is sold. I haven't done anything. I've been recuperating and working on these glue books. Although I couldn't sleep that first night when I knew that she had made an offer. I couldn't sleep. And so I turned the light on and got out. I keep a notebook, a paper, next to my bed, and I just grabbed that and a pen and started writing what I need to put in each room, you know, because I was laying there trying to think, what do I have room for, and what I have to take with me, and where am I going to put it, because, you know, I have a piano, and I have a set of drawers that holds my piano music, and I need room for those. At this point, I even feel like I wouldn't mind not having a piano anymore. I haven't felt like playing the piano like I used to since Bill died. And I'm busy with this stuff. I really like, I'm sorry, I think these colors are great. So these are going to be the end papers. But I know that if I didn't take my piano with me, I would regret it. So I'm taking it. 7.5. So anyway, I got up that night and started making a list, and then I also put some more books in a box. You know, it took moments to do that, but at least I did something. So it's no wonder I was exhausted. That was one of those days I had to get up at 5:15 and I just couldn't sleep. After I listed my house, I was second guessing myself. I think I told you that. But that's one of my problems. I just second guess every decision I make. And that was no exception. That's a big decision. And, you know, am I really doing the right thing? And then for 2-3 days, my knees were more sore than they'd been in a long time. Some days I can go up and down these stairs with absolutely no problem. And then some days my knees hurt and I take the stairs more slowly. I've had arthritis for years. And, you know, even before I got as old as I am now, of course, you know, I was kind of too young, I think, to start with arthritis. But I've had arthritis in my knees for many years. And so the days right after I signed to list the house, my knees were extra sore. And I thought, well, that takes care of the second guessing thing, because I know I have to leave this house before too many years. But I have a treadmill down in the basement, and I used to use it every day. But for many reasons, I just haven't been. It took me a long time to get back to using it after Bill died, and I didn't become real steady at it, and I got depressed, and then I didn't do anything. But I feel like if it's, my basement isn't finished, you know, there are spider webs, and it's not a nice basement, but there was room for the treadmill. It's a big basement, lots of storage down there. I'm thinking I want to take the treadmill with me, if I can, and put it in a spare. It's got 3 bedrooms where I'm going, and they're small, but one will be my bedroom, one will be my craft room where I actually do my work, and the other room will be kind of an office where I keep my desk and some storage for my crafts, because the craft room is going to be smaller than this one. And I thought if I could put the treadmill in there, the part that you walk on can fold up to, you know, leave more floor space, and then I can just fold it down when I want to use it. And I thought if it's there and I don't have to go down cellar, I'm pretty sure I would use it. And I really need to. That teal is pretty, isn't it? So I don't know if it's going to be a possibility, but I would like to take it with me. It was an expensive treadmill. My husband bought it for me for Christmas one year. And I used it. And I'd like to keep it. I hope this isn't too boring, watching me do the same thing over and over, but, you know, you're watching me make selections of different colors to go with the different covers, and so I hope that you're getting some inspiration from it. I love these colors, and I will definitely put book corners on the corners of these covers. My battery light is flashing, and I just put a new one in before I started. That's pretty annoying. It's only been going for 47 minutes. Well, I've got 3 covers put together. Let's do one more. I have 5 to do, but I think we can do one more and still keep this video under an hour. So this one is another large book, and it's a heavy, thick cover. And I chose this piece of patchwork, and I didn't have to add anything to it. But it doesn't leave much of a margin here, but it's enough to fold over. So that's good. You know what I should have done on the other one was run a stitch. Well, no, I don't need to. I think I am going to put some glue inside of the edge, because there won't be any stitching on here, on the edge part. And because there's a little extra fabric there, different variety of fabric, I'm going to put that on the front to give it more interest. I've got some really nice pieces of patchwork that are actually from a quilt with the batting in them and everything. and I really want to make journal covers with them. I'm thinking I might have to destash more stuff because I don't want to move into this new place and instantly have everything bulging. You know, I don't want... Wait, that's not over far enough. I want to have room to maneuver and room to find what I'm looking for. And so I'm thinking that I will probably have to destash more stuff. But I probably won't do that until I move and see what I have room for. I have so much fabric that I'm thinking I might have to get rid of a little of each kind of fabric and then combine, because I have like these big drawers, big deep drawers, plastic drawers with different types of fabric in them. I have vintage fabric and sheet fabric, and this came from quilt pieces and like tablecloth pieces and stuff like that. And then I have chenille that's not even in those drawers. It's in a different container. So I think I'm just going to have less of each kind of fabric and dispose, or, you know, destash the rest. And maybe the same will go for paper. Maybe. Okay, what do we want to put on the spine here? I wonder if this huge black one would be cool. Let's see. I don't want to bend the cover yet because the glue's not dry to see how that looks, but that's cool, but it might be just too big. But I have this one, but I think I only have this piece. Might not be big enough. I kind of like that, but it's not big enough to do both sides. Looking for kind of a wide rickrack. I have white, I have orange, pink, not the right color in that width. Green. I mean, I'm even looking at this width. What about this? I don't think there's enough of this one either. Nope. That would have been a good one. Well, you know, I could put black on the front and blue on the back, or vice versa, but I'd rather have them both the same. Am I just being too picky? Let's try the GIMP. What do we have in GIMP? Oh, that's pretty. There's enough of that one. Scissors aren't very sharp. These are my better ones. Oh boy. It's almost an hour.